Miami. Sun, sand, ocean views, luxurious lifestyles.
Don't forget the real estate market.
Oh, right. It's hotter than a jalapeno on South Beach, or so they say.
That's Miami for you. Always something brewing.
But is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? You tell me, is it all ocean views and hefty price tags, or can you actually find a deal in paradise?
Well, that's what we're here to uncover, right?
Exactly. We're diving deep into this text conversation, getting granular, to see if we can separate the hype from the reality.
It's never as simple as just picking a side, is it?
Nope, not in Miami. This city keeps you guessing. Speaking of guessing, this text is painting quite the picture, especially regarding luxury real estate. It seems like Miami Beach, Coconut Grove, Coral Gables, all those iconic spots are where it's at.
Those are the names that everyone knows, right? But what makes those specific areas so sought after, especially at the high end?
Good question. We see them on postcards and movies, those iconic Art Deco buildings, those lush tropical landscapes. But what's the reality behind the image? What's the insider perspective on those luxury markets?
It's more than just a zip code. It's about a lifestyle. Imagine waking up to the ocean breeze in your Miami Beach condo.
Oh, I can only dream.
Or strolling through the historic streets of Coral Gables with its Mediterranean architecture, Coconut Grove with its lush tropical landscaping and bohemian vibes. These neighborhoods are steeped in history and exclusivity, not to mention that undeniable Miami energy.
It really is about buying into a whole mood, isn't it? And speaking of buying, the text specifically mentioned waterfront views and modern amenities as major selling points for these luxury properties. Are those just standard expectations in a city like Miami, or are those the magic words that drive those prices even higher?
Well, think of it this way. Waterfront property is desirable anywhere.
Absolutely. Who doesn't love a good water view?
But in Miami, where the water is such an integral part of life, it becomes almost essential for a certain buyer.
It makes sense. You're not just buying a view, you're buying direct access to boating, kayaking, paddleboarding, that whole Miami lifestyle.
Exactly. And don't forget those modern amenities. We're not talking about a basic gym and a pool here. Imagine a private rooftop infinity pool overlooking the city skyline, a state-of-the-art fitness center with personal trainers on call, maybe even concierge medical services.
Or, yeah, you're just showing off.
I'm just saying, in Miami, luxury is about more than just the basics. It's about seamlessly integrating those luxurious experiences into your daily life.
Sounds tempting.
Yeah.
But let's be real, most of us aren't exactly swimming in cash to afford those kinds of properties.
Oh, I see.
Which brings us to a range that might be a little more relatable for our listeners. The mid-range market. The text described it as balanced, which sounds promising, but also maybe a little, I don't know, uncertain.
That's a good way to put it. In that $1 to $3 million range, you have a real mix of buyers.
Right. Families looking for good schools, young professionals.
Exactly. Maybe even some first-time buyers hoping to get their foot in the door.
If they can even get their foot in the door, right? Because the text mentioned that good homes in that range are still getting snapped up pretty quickly.
They are, which means there's still competition out there.
Right. And we can't ignore the elephant, or maybe the manatee, in the room, interest rates. The text mentioned them as a factor, and we know they're affecting buyers all over the country. But what does that look like in a market as dynamic and fast-paced as Miami?
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Higher interest rates, definitely impacting affordability, even in Miami.
Even with those Miami salaries?
Even then. Think about it. Even a small increase, say 0.5% on a $2 million mortgage, translates to a significant difference in monthly payments.
Ouch, yeah. That adds up quickly.
Right. So some buyers, especially in that mid-range market we were just talking about, might be temporarily priced out. That's part of what's creating that balance the text mentioned.
It's like a game of real estate limbo. How low can you go?
Exactly. But here's the thing. If those interest rates were to drop, even slightly, we could see a huge surge in demand, especially in that mid-range segment.
Oh, so everyone's holding their breath, waiting to see which way the market will swing.
Pretty much. It's a nail-biter for sure.
Okay, let's move on to condos. This is where the text threw us a bit of a curveball. Older, urban condos, they're saying it's a buyer's market, but new, luxury condos are still in high demand.
It's a tale of two condo markets. Older condos, especially those in already densely developed areas, are facing tough competition from all these new, amenity-rich developments.
So it's all about those shiny new features.
To some extent. But even within the luxury condo market, there's a hierarchy. The text specifically mentioned buildings like the St. Regis in Bal Harbour, 1000 Museum, LSA, Those aren't just condos, they're landmarks.
Oh, I see what you mean. They're like status symbols.
Exactly. They represent a certain level of prestige, a unique lifestyle that goes beyond even the standard luxury market.
So it's not just about being new. It's about what that newness represents: status, exclusivity.
But back down to earth for a minute. The text also mentioned that a lot of the inventory, across all price points, is either overpriced or in need of serious renovation.
That's the Miami market for you.
How can a buyer even begin to navigate that? How do you determine what good quality actually means in this environment? Honestly, that's where having a great real estate agent can make all the difference. A good agent knows the market inside and out.
Right. They'll be able to cut through the noise.
Exactly. They can help you assess a property's true value, factor in potential renovation costs, and see if the asking price is realistic based on its condition and location. It's about looking beyond the surface and seeing the potential, but also knowing when to walk away from a fixer-upper disguised as a hidden gem.
So in Miami, good quality is about more than just fresh paint and new appliances. It's about understanding the nuances, the potential, and maybe having a reliable contractor on speed dial.
Absolutely. And remember, real estate is always evolving. What's true in Miami today might not be true tomorrow.
It's a jungle out there.
Speaking of which, the text mentioned investors seeing potential in that mid-range market.
Which begs the question, what if Miami becomes too investor-driven? Does that price out the average buyer?
Or does it fuel a cycle of growth and opportunity?
That's a Miami mystery, something for our listeners to ponder.